let's talk about new revelations in the Michael Flynn case. So there's some new revelations in the Michael Flynn case. Apparently, there's a report that is out about who tried to unmask Michael Flynn's identity during the Russia probe. So here's the way this works. If there is a wiretap that happens of a foreign national, and an American is caught up in that wiretap, that person's name is hidden because you are not allowed to surveil American citizens without an actual FISA warrant. You're not allowed to surveil American citizens without some sort of legal go-ahead. So that person's name is kept confidential and it's kept private unless there's an actual request for unmasking from inside the executive branch. And these are supposed to be rare. They are not supposed to be done unless you actually have true suspicion of criminality. Well, as it turns out, Susan Rice, who is the national security advisor to President Obama, asked for Michael Flynn to be unmasked so she could see his name. And then that was basically leaked and circulated within the Obama administration. So everybody knew that Michael Flynn had been on the phone with Sergei Kislyak. Now, again, there's nothing illegal about Michael Flynn being on the phone with Sergei Kislyak. Nothing. There's nothing illegal about that. He was the incoming national security advisor on the phone with the Russian ambassador. That is not illegal in any way, shape, or form. The Obama administration decided to circulate Flynn's name specifically to generate all sorts of concern that Flynn was in thrall to the Russians. Well, now it turns out that a bunch of people in the Obama administration were very, very concerned with Michael Flynn. According to the New York Post, former Vice President Joe Biden and former FBI Director James Comey were among the top officials who tried to unmask Michael Flynn's identity during the Russia probe, according to a report by the acting director of national intelligence, Richard Grenell. The bombshell letter, first reported by Fox News on Wednesday afternoon, was sent to Republican senators by Grenell as they seek to investigate the origins of the FBI's malign probe into Russian interference in the 2016 election. Intelligence chiefs John Brennan and James Clapper were also included on the list of 23 Obama-era officials who allegedly tried to reveal the identity of Flynn during the presidential transition period. So is Obama Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough and former U.S. Ambassador to the UN Samantha Power. 9 names were redacted for apparent national security purposes. Biden's name emerged in connection to the Flynn unmasking a day after he denied any knowledge of the Flynn probe. George Stephanopoulos had asked him, "What did you know about these moves to investigate Flynn? Was there anything improper done?" He said, "I know nothing about these moves to investigate Michael Flynn." Well, weird, because not only were you in a meeting with Barack Obama and members of the DOJ and FBI, where members of the DOJ were shocked to learn that Obama actually knew about the Flynn call, and they were shocked that Obama himself was in the loop. Biden was at that meeting. Now it turns out that Biden was on the list of people asking for the unmasking of Flynn. And again, you're only supposed to unmask people when there's actual suspicion of criminal activity and when you are trying to hide information from that person because you might suspect that person is going to be a criminal. Rand Paul, senator from Kentucky, he went off on this. He said, listen, this is abuse of power, and it is abuse of power.
Vice President Biden and more than a dozen Obama administration officials requested and received the power to unmask General Flynn during his phone call with the Russian ambassador. James Clapper, James Comey, John Brennan, Samantha Powers, and the president's chief of staff all individually asked to unmask General Flynn and to listen to his phone conversation. Intriguingly, a dozen more administration officials all chose to unmask General Flynn.
Now, again, it's okay to unmask somebody for purposes of internal discussion. You can do that. What is not okay is that within days, this had been leaked to the Washington Post. That's illegal. Okay, leaking an American citizen's name after unmasking, that's illegal stuff. And when it turns out that everybody, you have to know that the natural consequence of every single person in the Obama administration in a 5-mile radius unmasking a guy, it is very likely that's going to end up with the media. Right? Everybody sort of gets this. Quinn Hillier has a piece over at the Washington Examiner pointing this out. They say that, he says, people are making too much of the unmasking itself, which could have been entirely justified. But what was almost certainly illegal was the leak to the Washington Post of the information about those unmasked calls. And again, should there be a presumption that somebody is going to be leaked if it turns out that everybody inside the Obama administration was requesting the unmasking? At a certain point, does it become a little bit predictable that this thing got leaked to the media? So President Trump went off on Biden. He says, how does Biden know nothing about the unmasking if he's one of the unmaskers? I mean, he literally said he knew nothing about the investigation. He was one of the people requesting the unmasking.
I watched Biden yesterday on Good Morning America being interviewed by one of your colleagues, George Stephanopoulos, and he said he knew nothing about anything. He has no idea. He knows nothing about anything. Nothing at all. And then it gets released today that he was a big unmasker. So how do you know nothing if you're one of the unmaskers? It's one of the very big stories, and I suspect you'll have, if it's possible, even bigger stories coming out.
Fact check true. Fact check true. By the way, I think that the finest moment here came from a Biden spokesperson. So a Biden spokesperson slammed CBS's Catherine Herridge. Herridge is a reporter on this beat, and she reported about the unmasking. So a Biden spokesperson promptly tweeted out, his name is Andrew Bates, Catherine Herridge is a partisan right-wing hack who's a regular conduit for conservative media manipulation ploys because she agrees to publicize things before contacting the target to ask for comment. Okay, nothing richer than a Biden person attacking members of the media. It's an assault on our free press, institutions. It's just an assault. And by the way, I will note that it is pretty astonishing that members of the Obama tribe and the Biden tribe, the political tribe here, that those people are very upset with the media. You don't get to be upset with the media, guys. You leaked this information to the media in the first place. Susan Rice, by the way, was asked for comment on all of the unmasking stories, and she declined. She basically ran away from the reporter.
How do you respond to those who say you abused your power with unmasking 2016?
Excuse me.
I wanted to just ask you about DOJ investigating the origins of the Russia probe. Do you think they'll find anything, any wrongdoing on the part of the Obama administration?
I have no idea what DOJ is doing. Thanks.
Do you have any comment on them exploring the origins of the Russia probe, investigating the investigators? Do you think it's a worthy cause to do that?
I'm not commenting. Thank you.
Okay, so that is the way that the Obama administration, those professionals who definitely did not politicize intelligence, but were leaking everything that they could find about the Trump administration out into the public. That just brilliant handling. The Wall Street Journal has a good editorial today about all of this. They say when news stories appeared in early 2017 about Michael Flynn's conversation with Russia's ambassador to the U.S., these columns wondered how Flynn's call was so widely known. The names of private U.S. citizens caught on tape by U.S. intelligence are supposed to be masked so their privacy is protected. Well, now we know. GOP Senators Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson on Wednesday released a declassified list of Obama administration officials who in their waning days in power unmasked the conversations of Mr. Flynn, who is set to become Trump's national security advisor. It seems everybody but the night janitor wanted to know who Flynn was talking to. A stunning 39 separate officials snooped on Flynn's conversations with foreign actors, lodging nearly 50 unmasking demands between November 30th, 2016 and January 12th, 2017. Our sources say the nearly dozen redacted names on the list are likely intelligence types who might have a legit interest. Most of the rest are partisan officials. Flynn was unmasked by at least 4 U.S. ambassadors, 6 Treasury officials, people connected to the Energy and Justice Departments and NATO, then FBI Director James Comey, then CIA Director John Brennan, and then Director of National Intelligence James Clapper also made the list. The Flynn unmasking is important, they say, because it occurred amid a media frenzy over supposed Trump campaign collusion with Russia. There are other dots to connect. Documents released late last week show that former Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates first learned about the Flynn wiretapping from Barack Obama personally in a January 5th, 2017 Oval Office meeting. At least one of the unmaskers must have told Obama. And the question there, again, is not the unmasking. The question is, why was all this being leaked out? And the answer is that our institutions, those same institutions that are now tasked with making decisions about you and your life and your level of freedom, those institutions botched this one beyond botchery. The good news is that so long as they are targeting Trump, they always have the love of the media. So Adam Schiff, who spent 3 years lying that Trump-Russia collusion was going to reveal the seething, festering wound in the body of America's politics. Yesterday, he said it was Bill Barr who was politicizing the DOJ. It's all Bill Barr's fault for dropping the case against Flynn.
The problem is that Bill Barr has so politicized the Justice Department, the justice system, that people can't have confidence that a decision like this to release Paul Manafort to do home imprisonment is based on the merits. This system stinks. And that's the result of Bill Barr politicizing the Justice Department. People have lost confidence in its neutrality, that justice is blind. Instead, they think that justice bends to Donald Trump's will. And that's just a tremendous disservice and risk to the rule of law.
I don't want to hear about risks to the rule of law from Adam the Liar Schiff. I want to hear about risks to rule of law from this bag of tools. Thank you for tuning in to The Daily Wire, one of the fastest growing conservative media outlets in the country. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our content.